Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday class. It's chapter 10 Statistics Utilization of Assessment Data. The last chapter for Assessment in Learning 2, but not the last lesson for the subject kasi may TM pa tayo. Maghanda po kayo ng papel, ballpen, at saka po kung may calculator, ay pakihanda po. Kung wala namang scientific calculator, pwede namang gamitin yung simpleng calculator. No? You can use your cell phone. So, the CILO, please read.
Chapter Intended Learning Outcome. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to compute the mean, median, and mode, quartile, and percentile of a score distribution. Identify the different properties of measures of central tendency. Identify the uses of the different measures of variability. Compute the value and make an analysis of range, quartile deviation, variance, and standard deviation of a given score distribution. Identify the properties of the different measures of variability, differentiate standard deviation and coefficient of variation.
Maraming salamat, Oherio. Okay, so statistics. Statistics plays a very important role in assessing the performance of students, most especially when we describe and analyze the scores of the students through their assessment activities. So from the data that we are gathering from our students, yung mga test scores, bukod sa nilalagay lang natin siya sa class record at nag-arrive tayo into certain general weighted average, we are somehow at some point in our teaching career analyze those data so that we can give more substantial feedback to the parents, to the principal, and to other stakeholders. So teachers should know how to utilize this data, particularly in decision making. Kaya naman, a classroom teacher should have the necessary background in the statistical procedures in order for him or her to give a correct description and interpretation of students' performance in a certain test, whether it is conducted by the teacher or by the DepEd, or whether it is in the division level or a national assessment like NHC or NAT or NCAE or NCAM. So this chapter is a review of the important tools needed in describing, analyzing, and interpreting assessment results. Nung senior high school, meron kayong probability and statistics. So, meron din kayong JEC 05 na nag-touch ng statistics. That's why this portion is just a review of the important tools na magagamit natin sa ating pag-interpret ng assessment data. So the topics discussed in this chapter are measures of central tendency, measures of variation, skewness, correlation, and different types of converted scores. It is very important for every education student like you and teacher to master this part because it will be very helpful in describing and analyzing the test results accurately for the teacher to make an appropriate decision about the performance of the learners. So, let's define statistics. Pakibasa.
Statistics is the branch of science that deals with the collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of quantitative data.
Sino to? Si Merle o si ano? Caliero?
Yes.
Caliero. Kaboses kayo. Okay, let's statistics. Ang statistics ay noun na laging may S. Ano? So, singular siya. So, statistics is, ito yung branch ng siyensya, gaya ng sinabi kanina, sa pagbabasa, the way of collecting. Kung wala kang kinolect, wala kang i-present, wala kang i-analyze, at wala kang i-interpret. And of course, these are quantitative data, ibig sabihin, numero o bilang. Meron dalawang malaking branches ng statistics. We have the descriptive stat and the inferential stat. Kapag binigyan ka ng set of data or kapag nakakuha ka ng set of data sa iyong klase and you, after you collecting, you describe it, you analyze it, without drawing conclusion, walang panghuhulang nangyayari, walang walang trend na tinitingnan at wala kang ini-infer, ibig sabihin wala kang hinuhulang, pwedeng kapag ganito ang data, ganito ang mangyayari sa bata. Ang tawag doon ay descriptive statistics. You are just describing, collecting, and analyzing set of data. Kapag ngayon ang data na nakuha mo ay concerned with analysis of a subset of data, then you are leading to predictions or inferences. Let's say, for example, base sa kasalukuyang datos na meron tayo sa Pilipinas, ginagamit natin yung datos para masukat natin ang inflation rate in the coming years, ano ang magiging takbo ng ekonomiya sa susunod na mga panahon, base sa galaw ng weather, yung mga data na nakukuha natin sa weather, nag-i-infer ka or nagpipredict ka kung kailan maglaland ang bagyo, anong oras ito sasapit. When you are making inferences and predictions, what you are utilizing is the inferential statistics. Okay? It means that inferences can be derived from the population. Pag sinabi nating population, yung isang buong, halimbawa, ang inyong pinag-aaralan sa research ay restaurants in Lucena City. So pag sinabi nating population, lahat ng restaurants, maliit, malaki, mayaman, mahirap na restaurant sa Lucena City. That's the population. But you can also select, kaya kakaroon tayo ng selected restaurant in, ang tawag doon ay sample or just a part of the population. Alam din naman natin na statistically, hindi mo naman kailangang buong population ng i-survey o buong population ng kuhaan ng data kasi sample of that population can stand for the whole population. Pero ibang usapan kapag estudyante. Kasi hindi pwedeng itong sample na lang na to ang kukuha ng exam. Dapat lahat sila kumukuha ng exam. So, those were the two different branches of statistics. So, let's proceed with describing group performance. So, in describing the group performance ng students in a certain examination, the measures of central tendency and the measures of variability are used. Ano ang measures of central tendency? Ginagamit ito to determine the average performance of a group of scores. Yung average, yung mean, median, and mode. That's the measures of central tendency. While when we talk about the measures of variability, it is not talking about average performance, but it indicates the spread of scores in a group. Gaano kakalat, gaano kahiwa-hiwalay ang mga scores ng isang estudyante o ng mga estudyante sa isang exam. So these two concepts are very important and helpful sa pag-intindi ng performance ng isang klase. So let's proceed with the measures of central tendency. I know that this is very basic for you. Sana. Measures of central tendency provides a very convenient way of describing a set of scores with a single number that describes the performance of a group. Let's say, for example, marami kayong in exam, marami kayong inactivity sa loob ng klase, pero pag na-receive nyo yung grade na 1.5, that particular number represents the whole performance. That single number describes the whole performance of you inside a certain class. So that's the measures of central tendency. It is also defined as a single value that is used to describe the center of the data. Pansin nyo, pag nag-average kayo, napupunta o yung value ng average ay wala sa dulo o wala sa baba, wala sa taas, pero nasa gitna. It's the center of the data. It is thought of as a typical value in a given distribution. Meron tayong tatlong commonly used measures of central tendency. We have the mean, the median, and the mode. Wait lang. Nagkakaintindihan pa ba tayo?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. So we have the mean, the median, and the mode. Ang atin lang pong pag-aaralan ay yung bahagi ng statistics na ginagamit sa loob ng klase, no? Or sa pag-interpret ng data ng estudyante. Kung part ng statistics na hindi na applicable doon o mas komplikado, hindi natin yun pag-uusapan. So we shall discuss some of the properties of the mean and the median and the mode and how to compute for their value when applied in classroom setting. That starts with the mean. So mean is referring to the arithmetic average. Sa madaling sabi ay average. Paano nag-average?
Add po lahat ng mga grades. then divide
Pinagpa-plus.
yung ilan.
Tapos, dinidivide kung
Divide
ilan.
po ko ilan.
Okay. So, the mean used, ginagamit when the data are interval or in ratio level of measurement. Ibig sabihin, counting numbers. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng fraction, let's say pwedeng decimal, that's ratio level of measurement. Pwedeng 91.2, pwedeng 22.5. So, that's counting numbers. Used or ratio level. Ginagamit din when the frequency distribution is regular. Pag sinabi nating frequency distribution, yung tipong ilan ba yung mababa sa klase, ilan yung mataas sa klase, gaano siya kahiwa-hiwalay. So, when the frequency distribution is just the regular distribution or just the normal distribution, we use the mean. And most of the time, pag nagko-compute tayo ng grade, mean ang ginagamit natin. Hindi tayo gumagamit ng median o hindi tayo gumagamit ng mode kapag nag-i-interpret tayo ng data ng grado. So, easily affected by extreme scores, kapag meron kang matataas na grades, tapos may napasamang mababa na grade o isang 0 o dalawang 1 lang ang score mo sa quiz, mabilis maapektuhan ang mean. No? Hinahatak yan pababa. May not be an actual score in the distribution. That's true. Yung makukuha mong mean ay pwedeng hindi present sa iyong grade. Let's say, for example, ay 90, 91, 92, 98 point something. Pag in-average mo, hindi necessarily mean na yung makukuha mong average ay isa dun sa mga scores na nakuha. And very easy to compute. The sum of each score's distance from the mean is 0. We'll discuss it on the next slide. And used to compute other measures. Kapag ang pinasolve sa iyo ay standard deviation, kailangan natin ng mean. Kapag pinasolve sa'yo ang coefficient of variation, skewness, and the z-score, kailangan natin ng value ng mean. So, ito yung the sum of each score's distance from the mean is 0. Yung pag pinagsama-sama mo, yung layo ng score, ng bawat score sa average ay 0. Paano yun? Let's say, nag-quiz ka. 20 yung sa score mo isa, 24 yung isa mong score, yung isa 18, yung isa 12, yung isa 15. So, meron kang 5 quizzes. Pag pinag-plus-plus natin, 89 ang sagot, divided by 5, kasi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 na scores. Ang average mo ay 17.8, or this is your arithmetic mean. Sukatin natin ang distance niya, distance of the score from the mean. Okay? So, 20 minus 17.8. This is 20 and this is the mean. Sinusukat natin kung gaano siya kalayo. 2.2. 24 minus 17.8, 6.2. 18 minus 17.8, 0.2. 12 minus 17.8 equals negative 5.8. 15 minus 17.8 equals negative 2.8. Pag inad mo lahat itong distance na to, ang sagot dapat ay 0. Simply because the mean is at the center of the scores. Naiintindihan?
Opo, sir.
Okay, let's proceed. So let's proceed to median. So median refers to the centermost score o yung pinakagitna. Positional ito, di ba? Si mean kasi ay kino-compute, ina-add, dinidivide para makita mo yung weighted mean na nasa gitna. Pero si median, positional. Sino ba yung nasa pinakagitna? So when the scores in the distribution are arranged in magnitude, so para makita mo yung centermost score, kailangan ang scores ay arranged from lowest to highest or highest to lowest. Ang tawag doon ay ordinal. So ginagamit siya when the data are in ordinal level or naka-arrange from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. Ginagamit pag ang distribution is irregular or skewed. Let's say, masyadong madaming mababang ang score, masyadong madaming mataas ang score. So, ginagamit siya kapag skewed or irregular. But when we are interpreting grades na nilalagay sa card, we are not using median. So, used when the middlemost score is desired. Kung gusto mo makita kung ano yung pinakagitnang score lang, by position, median ang gamit mo. Used when there are extreme scores. Yan, sobrang taas ng isa, sobrang baba ng isa. Ang tawag doon ay irregular distribution. Not affected by the extreme scores, kasi positional nga siya. Kung saan nakapwesto yung panggit ng score, yun ang median mo. So, hindi siya naaapektuhan ng extreme scores. 0 man yung pinakamababa o 105 yung pinakamataas. And may not be an actual observation in the dataset. Pwede kasing walang may not be an actual observation in the dataset. It's the same with mean. Pwedeng ang median mo ay hindi actual na makikita dun sa sample or dun sa set of scores mo. Kasi minsan, dalawa yung median, then we get the average. Example, data 1, 20, 24, 18, 12, 15, 13, 8. Ang unang gawin, arrange in ordinal level. In this case, lowest to highest ang ginawa ko. So, it's 8, 12, 13, 15, 18, 20, 24. Then, locate. Nasaan ang gitna? Ito ay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data. So, ang gitna niya ay yung ika-apat. At ang ika-apat ay 15. So, this is your median. Gets? Okay. Let's go with data number 2. You have 20, 24, 18, 12, 15, and 13. Arranged in ordinal level, we have 12, 13, 15, 18, 20, and 24. Ito ay 6 na data. So, ang panggitna mo ay 15 and 18. So, para makuha ang median, you get the average of 15 and 18. 15 plus 18?
33 po.
33 divided by 2? 16.5. Kaya ito yung ating median. Nagkakaintindihan sa median?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Sa mean, average, sa median, nasaan yung middlemost score? O ano yung middlemost score? Ito yung tinatawag kanina dun sa property na may not be an actual observation. Kasi wala namang 16.5 sa set of data. So, not in the actual observation, but median exists. Okay, let's go to the mode. Mode refers to the scores that occurs most frequently in the score distribution. Usually, it is used when the data are in the nominal level of measurement. Pag sinabi nating nominal, we're using names on data. Ginagamit lagi ito sa research. Let's say, for example, what's your nominal data? Halimbawa, ilan ang girl sa population? So we use the mode. Ilan ang nakapag-aral ng bachelor? That's nominal data. You're using categories in terms of names. No. O kaya ilan ang babae? Ilan ang lalaki? Yung demographic profile na sinusukat natin most of the time sa ating statement of the problem number 1, nominal data ang tawag doon, at ang ginagamit natin doon ay mode. So it is used when quick answer is needed, used when the score distribution is normal, can be used quantitatively because you're counting ilan ang babae at ilan ang lalaki, binibilang mo sila. Pero pwede rin gamitin qualitative kasi hindi ka lang nakadwell on the numbers, but you have the names. You have girl, boy, LGBT, age, social status, depende sa ginagamit mo. So it may not be unique and not affected by extreme values. Siyempre, hindi siya affected. Wala akong pakialam kung may 0 ka sa score. Ang tinatanong ko, ilan yung 5 mo? Yeah, that's the mode. And may not exist at times. Minsan, walang mode. Halimbawa, dun sa research mong respondents, wala namang babae. The mode does not exist for the girls. So, meron tayong 3 uri ng mode. We have the unimodal, is a score distribution na merong isang mode, bimodal, kung dalawa ang mode, at trimodal or tinatawag din siyang multimodal kung ang score ay more than 2 or 3 and above. Example, data 1 kanina, ay iba na pala yata. 20, 18, 18, 12, 15, 13, 8. Ang hahanapin mo sa, this is mode. Bakit hindi na nakasulat? Wait lang. Edit ko. Yan. So, pag mode, hinahanap natin yung most frequently occurring, yung pinakamadaming beses na lumabas yung data. So, sa data 1, anong mode?
18 po.
18. Isa lang siya, so unimodal ang tawag doon. Sa data 2, may dalawang 5 at may dalawang 13, so dalawa yung mode, bimodal. Hindi mo pwedeng kuhain yung average ng dalawa because we're talking about the most frequently occurring data. So, kung dalawa, ay di 5 and 13. Sa data 3, 81, 91, 92, 88, 91, 75, 75, 88, 78, 73, 87, 90, 80, 83. We have three modes, 91, 88, and 75. So, ang tawag dyan ay trimodal or multimodal. Nagkakaintindihan tayo?
Yes po.
Okay, you get a sheet of paper. I'm giving you 10 minutes to answer the following. Isa-isahin ko kayo kung anong sagot ninyo mamaya. Okay? Go. 10 minutes starts now. Nagkaklase po sa cashier. Sa cashier, sir. Out of the keyboard lang ako ng ilang minutes. Tuloy nyo lang yung ginagawa. 2 minutes lang. I'm back. Thirty-five seconds. Time's up. Okay. Oh, Marle,
Yes po, sir.
dictate mo nga sa akin sagot mo. 1 to 10.
Number 1 lang po ba, sir?
Hindi, 1 to 10. Yung sagot mo. Number 1.
4.5 po.
Number 2.
12.8 po.
Number 3.
14 po.
Wait lang. Ano?
13 po.
13.
14 po sa 3.
Okay. Number 4.
2.25 po.
Number 5.
25 po.
6.
6 po.
7.
23 po.
8.
5 po.
9.
17 po.
10.
7.5 po.
Okay. Kasido. 1.
No po. Ang 1 ko po ay 7, sir. Tapos 2 po ay 12.8. Ang 3 po ay 14. Ang 4 po ay 2.25. Ang 5 po is 20. Ang 6 po ay 19. Tapos 7 po ay 22. Tapos ang 8 po ay 5. Tapos 9 to 10 po yung, di po nasagutan.
Okay. Callejo.
Number 1 po ay 4.5, number 2 ay 12.3, number 3 ay 14, number 4 2.3, number 5 25.
Kadandahan mo. Ulit. Hindi ko mabilang. Number 1.
4.5 po.
Number 2.
12.3,
3.
14,
4.
2.3,
5.
25,
6.
6,
7.
23,
8.
5 and 12,
Ha? Okay.
5,
9.
16.1,
10.
ano nga, 7, ano po,
Hindi mo pa compute.
Hindi ko po, sir.
Okay. Wait lang ha. Magre-reply. Magre-reply lang ako. May nag-chat na important. Ohario. 1.
4.5 po.
Number 2.
12.8 po.
3.
14 po. Tapos 4 po ay 2.25. Ang 5 po ay 25. Ang 6 po ay 6. Ang 7 po ay 23. Ang 8 po ay 5. Ang 9 po ay 17. At ang 10 po ay 7.5.
Okay, salamat. Alam nasa na yung ibang kasamahan natin. Ohario, Kasido, Callejo. Aparato.
Pumunta kayo sa ISO, i-clear out yung ating mga kailangan i-clear. Bili natin.
Aparato.
Sir.
Number 1.
4.5 po. 12.3. 2.25. 25. 5.5. 23. 12. 17. 7.5, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Wala lang ibang tao din eh. Lima ang merong exercise. Okay, si Oherio ay 10, si Callejo ay 5, si Merle ay 9, si Casido ay 3, si Naparato ay 7. Okay. Let's go with the next. Ang median ng 1 ay 4.5, ang number 2 mean ay 12.8, ang number 3 na mode ay 14, ang number 4 mean ay 2.25, ang number 5 median ay 25. Number 6 ay 6, number 7 ay 23, number 8 ay 5, number 9 is 17, number 10 is 17.5. Yung number 8, pansin nyo, magkatabi kayong 12 at 2. Baka akala nyo 12 yun. Isa lang dun ang 12. Okay, let's go to the measures of variation or dispersion. So, meron tayong tinatawag na group data and ungroup data. Alam, kung familiar kayo dyan, pinag-aralan niya sa Jexero 5 at saka maybe nung senior high school ninyo. Pero may mean, median, and mode din yun, pero we never touch that part. No. Hindi siya masyadong ginagamit unless ang ini-interpret mong test scores ay buong school. Pero kung sa klase mo lang, we settle on ito para accurate 100%, di i-calculator mo ano. Okay? So let's go to the measures of variation, yung spreading or dispersion o hiwa-hiwalay ng mga scores. So the measure of variation is a single value that is used to describe the spread of the scores in a distribution. The term is also known as variability or dispersion. So there are several ways of describing the variation of scores. First, recorded. Okay, going back. We have the absolute measures of variation and the relative measures of variation. No. So, doon muna tayo sa absolute measures. Pag sinabi nating absolute measures, we are describing the variation or the dispersion of data in a single set of data. Let's say, klase mo lang. That's absolute measures of variation. Pag sinabi nating relative measures of variation, you are comparing one set of data with another set of data. So, pag kinumpare mo na yung scores ng section mo with the scores ng kabilang section at ng isa pang section, pag pag 2 above the sets of data ang kinukompare mo, in terms of dispersion o pagkakahiwa-hiwalay ng scores sa isang set of data, relative measures yon. Pero pag absolute, kung anong data meron ka lang, yun lang yung iyong dinidescribe ng dispersion. So we can use 3. We have the range, we have the IQR or the interquartile range, and the quartile deviation or the QD, and of course, ang tanyag na standard deviation. For the relative measures of variation, meron tayong isa lang, the coefficient of variation. Let's proceed with the absolute measures of variation, the range. So the range, napakasimple, napakadali, the difference between the highest score and the lowest score in a distribution. So ibig sabihin, yung pinakamataas score ng klase minus yung pinakamababang score, that's your range. So range is the simplest and the crudest measure of variation. Simplest because only the highest score and the lowest score are needed to be considered. Crudest because only the extreme scores are needed. You don't need the scores in the middle. So without considering any other sources, ang pinagkukunan lang natin ng data ay yung extreme scores, the highest and the lowest. So examples, pag ungroup ang data, you have the raw scores. Hindi nga siya nakagrupo, kaya siya ungroup. Let's say for example, 20, 24, 18, 12, and 15. Ito yung mga score ng isang bata, let's say for example, sa isang subject. That's ungroup data. Pag sinabi mong group data, so ginugrupo mo na ang data kasi masyadong madami na yung data. So instead of isa-isahin mo sila, ginugrupo mo sila, let's say 1 to 5, ilan ang nakapasok dyan? 6 to 10, ilan? 11 to 15, ilan? 16 to 20, ilan? 21 to 25, ilan? Pansinin nyo na meron tayong equal interval. So 1 to 5, 6 to 10, magkakapareho siya ng interval. Okay? Hindi pwedeng array 1 to 6, tas array 6 to 10. Magkaiba ng interval yun. So when we interpret the scores of our students, at ginroup mo siya, make sure na pare-pareho ka ng interval. So for the ungrouped data, para makuha natin ang range, R is equals to the highest score minus the lowest score. This is ungroup ha, ungroup. Yung kanina ay example pa lang. So, yung kanina nating example, ang highest score, anong highest score?
24 po.
24. Anong lowest?
12 po.
12. So, 24 minus 12 is 12. So, ang range natin for this ungroup data ay 12. Pag group data naman, same lang din, nagsusubtract. Pero, ang sinusubtract natin is the upper boundary of the highest score minus the lower boundary of the lowest score. So, ano yung boundary? We can acquire the value of the boundary by subtracting, let's say for example, 6 minus 5, then divided by 2. That's 6 minus 5 equals 1 divided by 2, that's 0.5. Pwede rin naman 11 minus 10, pwedeng 16 minus 15, pwedeng 21 minus 20. Lahat ng yan, 1 ang sagot, divided by 2 is 0.5. Then, when we locate the boundary, let's say for example, this set, 6 to 10, ang lower boundary, 0.5 ang ginagamit natin na boundary. I-subtract mo siya sa 6, that's 5.5. Ang upper boundary, i-add mo naman siya dito, that's 10.5. Bakit tayo naglalagay ng boundary? Let's say for example, may bata na nag-fall ang score into 5.6. Hindi siya pasok sa 1.5 simply because ang sabi ng boundary, ang 5.6 ay nagpo-fall sa loob ni 5.5. So, part siya ng data na to because of the lower boundary. So, ibig sabihin, ang i-count mo sa 1 to 5 ay yung papasok mula 0.5 hanggang 5.5. Ang ipapasok mo sa 6 to 10 ay 5.5 to 10.5. Ngayon, may nag-overlap. 5.5 po dito yung upper, dito po ay 6.5. Yung part na yun ay discretion ni teacher kung ano. Pero siguro statistically, may decision na ginagawa dyan o may pamamaraan ng pagpili. Pero in our case, you decide kung saan mo siya i-include. No? Yun ay kalayaan ni teacher. So that's the lower. So paano tayo mag-compute ng range natin pag group data? Kukunin mo po yung upper boundary ng highest score and the lower boundary ng lowest score. So ito yung highest score, 25. Ang upper boundary nito is 25.5. At ang lower boundary naman ng lowest score na 1 ay 0.5. So that's 25.5 minus 0.5. Ang range mo ng group data is 25. Paano ini-interpret natin ang range? Pag malaki masyado ang value ng range, ibig sabihin ang scores mo very dispersed o masyadong hiwa-hiwalay. On the other hand, if the range is small, so kung maliit ang range natin, ang scores mo are less dispersed or less scattered or homogeneous. Ibig sabihin, kung homogeneous ang iyong score, medyo magkakatipon sila. Hindi sila masyadong magkakalayo. Pero kung 1, halimbawa, 1 to 20 yung scores mo, merong 1 ang grade, merong 2, merong 20, merong 19, medyo, very, very scattered. Malaki ang range nun. Pero kung homogeneous yan, yung tipong 1 to 20 ang iyong exam, yung tipong ang lowest mo ay 10, ang highest mo ay 12, tapos karamihan 11, homogeneous yun. Nakakoncentrate sila at hindi sila masyadong hiwa-hiwalay. Next is the interquartile range. Wait lang.
Ibig sabihin, ang layas ay sigarilyo.
Okay.
Si Glenn daw
Balik tayo sa
pala.
interquartile range.
Si
Yeah.
Glenn.
So, pag interquartile range, ito yung difference. Pag sinabi difference, ay alam naman natin yan ay subtraction between the third quartile and the first quartile. So, IQR is equals to Q3 minus Q2. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan natin hanapin si Q3 at si Q1 bago natin makuha si interquartile range. So, example, find the interquartile range of the dataset. Ang data natin ay 3, 7, 8, 5, 12, 14, 21, 13, and 18. The first thing to do is to arrange the numbers in ordinal terms. So, pataas ang ginawa natin. 3, 5, 8, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 18, and 21. Then, you get the lower half and the upper half. So, we have the median in the middle. You identify the median. Then, itong apat sa pababa, ang tawag dyan is the lower half. Itong apat pataas is the upper half. Okay? Tapos, mula dyan, so mula sa lower half at mula sa upper half, ang Q1 is the median of the lower half. So, ang median ng 3, 5, 7, and 8 ay 5 and 7. You get the average, that's 5 plus 7 divided by 2. 5 plus 7, 12 divided by 2 is 6. That's Q1. Ang Q3 mo naman is the median of the upper half. So, 13, 14, 18, 21. Ito yung gitna. Ngayon, kung yan ay limang number, edi walang problema kung ano lang nasa gitna. That's automatic your median. Pero dahil walang gitna siya, 14 and 18 itong nasa gitna, we get the average. 14 plus 18 divided by 2 is 16. So, IQR is equals to Q3 minus Q1. Ang Q3 natin, or third quartile, ay 16 minus the first quartile, 6 is 10. So, the IQR is 10. Naintindihan?
Oo. Sunday. Sunday.
Opo, sir.
Okay. I hope malinaw yun. Ha? Okay, so let's proceed to the quartile deviation. Ulit ha. Pag interquartile, i-arrange muna, hanapin ang median. Tapos, i-identify ang lower half at ang upper half. Yung median ng lower half is the first quartile. Yung median ng upper half is the third quartile. Then subtract the two. That's your IQR or the interquartile range. Let's proceed with the quartile deviation. It indicates the distance we need to go above and below the median. So here, to approximately include the middle, kailangan nating makuha yung middle 50% ng scores. Yung pag 50% ng scores, edi kalahati. Pero yung kalahati ng scores, yung nasa gitnang portion. Kasi for example, ito yung mga scores mo. Guit. Ilan na? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gawin natin dito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ito yung ating median. Then, ang kailangan nating makita ay yung below at yung above mula sa median na dapat ay equivalent sa 50% ng scores. I hope malinaw. It is based on the range of the middle 50 scores instead of the range of the entire set. So, ang formula is Q3 minus Q1 all over 2. Tinatawag din itong, kasi divided by 2 lang siya, nitong IQR, tinatawag din siyang semi-IQR or the semi-interquartile range. So, quartile deviation can also be called semi-interquartile range. So, katulad nung kanina example, 16 ang Q3 natin minus 6 divided by 2. So, 16 minus 6 is 10 divided by 2 is 5. Ang QD mo is 5. How do we interpret QD or the measures of variation? Mas mataas na value ng IQR and QD, mas hiwa-hiwalay ang scores ng estudyante mula sa median value. Ibig sabihin, ito yung layo sa median value. Or the smaller the value of the IQR, the more na cluster. Ibig sabihin, the more na mas malapit sila sa median value. No? Okay. So, kung naintindihan yun, I am giving you ilang minuto. Siguro 5 minutes will do.
Sa kabila. Yung sa ano po? Sa QD. Yan po yata.
Ano?
Okay na po.
Okay na. Paki-note po ng formula ha. Q3 minus Q1 over 2. Itong isa ay Q3 minus Q1. Okay. Ang unang gawin, i-arrange. Tapos, kuhain na yung mga Q3 and Q1. Then, subtract, divide by 2. Timer starts. Now, 5 minutes. One minute. Time's up, guys. Start tayo kay... Wait lang ha. Marle. Number 1. Marle.
Engineering.
Mura na yata si Marle.
Hindi yan yung, ano, yung
Ballestero.
ratings, yung Philippines pa rin, yun. Business talaga.
Ballestero. Okay. Number 1, anong IQR mo?
4 po, sir.
Ha?
4 po.
Ano na?
4.
4. Ano ang QD mo?
QD. Number.
May sagot ka?
Ito po na.
May sagot ka?
Wala po, sir.
Wala. Number 2, may sagot?
26.5 po.
36.5. Ang
26 na.
ano na?
26 po.
26.5.
0.5.
Ang QD?
Wala po, sir.
Wala. Ang number 3?
Wala po, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Si Caliejo, number 1.
Number 1 po ay 0.
0. Ano yung QD mo sa number 1?
Wala po.
Wala. Number 2,
Ano po? 135 po. Tsaka
135.
Q.
Ha?
ang QD po ay 67.1.
Teka lang.
Mali pala ako.
Ano nakuha tong sagot ko?
IQR ay 10. Mali pala ako.
Okay. Ano? Sino kausap mo? Caliejo? Number
Sir.
2. Anong IQR?
IQR ay...
Balik-baliktad po pala yung formula ko.
Kaya, nga sala-sala nga yung sagot.
Hindi ko po kasi na-take note.
Okay. Kasido, number 1.
IQR ko po sa number 1 sir is 4 po. Tapos QD po 1.5.
Number 2.
Tapos sa 2 po sa IQR wala po sagot sir.
Number
Sa
3.
QD, yung sa 2 pong QD 7.1 po. Tapos sa 3 po IQR wala din pong sagot. Tapos QD po 3.
Okay. Imposible kasi magkaroon ng QD nang hindi ka dumaan sa IQR. Okay, thank you. Next. Marle, nandito ka na?
IQR ay
Ano number 1 mo?
Sorry po. Sir, ano po? 10 at saka 5.25 po.
Number 2.
Sa 2 po, wala po akong sagot.
Number 3.
11 po.
Okay. Heryo.
Sa number 1 po, ang IQR po ay 15.
15.
Opo. Ang QD po ay 7.5.
Number 2.
Ang 2 po, ang IQR po ay 58. Ang
Ang QD?
QD po ay 20.
Dito sa dati.
Number
Tapos po, ang
3.
number 3 po, ang IQR po ay 20.5. At ang QD po ay 10.25.
Okay. Sino pa? Naparato.
Ako, sir. Number 1 po, IQR ay 8. Ang QD po ay 2. Tapos number 2 ay... Ang IQR po ay 58, tas 29.
Ano yung QD?
29 po.
Okay. Number 3.
7.5 po yung IQR. Tas QD ay 3.75.
Okay. Reveliame. Reveliame. Dito ka ba? Amazing.
Download ng larong may bayad.
Reveliame. Wala. Okay. So, hindi ko lang naintindihan ninyo. Ulitin ko ba? Alas 9 na. Si Oherio, 2 tama. Si Naparato, 2 tama. The rest, 0. Pakitandaan po ha. Sa IQR, ang unang gagawin ay i-arrange ang data from lowest to highest. Naririnig ba? Naririnig niyo ako?
Opo, sir.
Hirap mag-online, ano? Yan. I-arrange from lowest to highest. After nun, you get the median. Wala naman tayong problema kung bakit mo ba kinukuha median? Para lang malaman natin kung nasan ang gitna. No? So, siguro, ang ginawa niyo din, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sa number 1 kasi ay, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 na data. So, pag in-arrange mo yan, ang median ay hindi existing. Kasi ang nasa gitnang data ay, pag in-arrange mo na ay 12, 15, 15, 18, 22, 25. Ang nasa gitna ay 15 and 18. Pero hindi ibig sabihin ay hindi mo siya isasama. How do I explain it? Wait. O, 2 minutes lang na explain. Para lang may titan nyo pag-anim ang data.
Dalawang professor sa PNU, tapos yung dalawa ay
Pass.
supervisor.
Ayan. Nakikita niyo ang screen ko? Ha? Oh, okay. Yan ay 12, 15, 15, 15, 22, 25. Yan yung bagong arrangement. Ngayon, ang media natin, nandito. No, gitna. Wala. I mean, pag kinuha mo yung totoong median, edi 15 plus 18 divided by 2. Pero, hindi naman natin kailangang isolve yun kasi hindi naman yun ang hinahanap natin. Ang hinahanap natin ay QR. Kapag ang data mo ay even, isasama mo tong tatlo at isasama mo tong tatlo sa lower half and upper half. Okay? So, ibig sabihin,
Comma siya, di ba? Tapos yung
saan yung arrow?
Tapos yung date.
Yan. Ang lower half mo
Ay, wala pa zero.
ay ito. Yan. Ang upper half mo ay ito. Hindi ko na diniscuss yun. Akala ko mang kigits nyo. So, kukunin mo ngayon ang median ng 12, 15, 15. Ang median value niyan ay ito, 15. So, that's your Q1. Ang median value ng 18, 22, 25, ay di nasa gitna, 22. So, that's the Q3. So, 22 minus 15, that's 7. So, that is your IQR. Divided by 2, 3.5. That's your QD. Gets?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, it's the same with number 3. Ito ay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 na data. So, 5 sa taas at 5 sa baba. Kuhain ng gitna. Kuhain ng gitna. Subtract. That's your IQR. Divided by 2. That is your QD. Okay. So, dahil alas 9 na, edi we'll stop discussing. Next meeting, we'll be talking about the variance and the standard deviation. Population variance, sample variance, population standard deviation, the sample standard deviation, examples, and the coefficient of variation, which is the last part. Okay. That's it for the day. I hope na naintindihan kung anong mga pinag-usapan at inaralan natin ngayong araw. Pwede nyo naman balikan sa video. God bless you. You go to your next class. Thank you. See you at 10:30 for the research.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye po.